Hello there, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, and today we talk about Digman, episode 6. Now, this episode was interesting. It's one of those when I started watching, it seemed super familiar first, but I couldn't get the reference. It's like the tip of my tongue. I know I've seen this somewhere before. It just sort of finally clicked when I saw the main villain because this whole episode is one big reference of Breaking Point. If you've never seen that movie, it's basically kind of Fast and Furious, the first movie, but Fast and Furious is sort of a rip-off of Breaking Point. In that movie, basically you follow a cop who get inside a gang who was like to rob banks. And the main actor was Keanu of that film. That's what sort of reminded me because the movie is just so over the top, but still very good. And I'm so surprised they actually mimic that storyline of this episode, but done very well. Of course, it's not perfect. I'm trying not to hype it up, but again, it's just sort of entertaining the take they actually took it. Of course, there's something interesting because you're about a Rick get hired to find this sort of Shakespeare letter this gang actually had. Yeah, I was like, okay, what's the gag? What's the joke? The joke was every time Rick does this, he comes too close to the gang. He becomes the pretend actor becoming the actor. Yeah, it's sort of that sort of old trope, you going too deep in the gang. They run that joke to the ground, but they did it in a way it's sort of interesting and kind of funny in a way because Rick becomes William, I think is he pretend named his acting name to go in the gang of actors to get the final script. But the only problem is Rick become way too good at the actor. He was sort of being more famous now. Now he decided to quit. He's not a archaeologist anymore. He's not an archie. He's an actor. He's William. Yeah, I love that sort of his friends trying to convince him focus, but at the end they just give up, burn all his stuff, take all his money, just forget about it. But once again, that's sort of kind of running gag that actually kind of works because it is kind of funny because all Rick does is sort of medium, small little parts that actually doesn't do anything because they fall into that sort of Hollywood stereotype phrasing of there is no small parts, just small actors. If you do deliver the smart part very well, you will be noticed. And that's sort of the running gag. Every single part he gets after that, after he blew up the mission because he got way famous, is all about being a part like the guy who walks in the street, the guy who digs in the hole. He got so famous because he's just so dedicated of the craft. And it was kind of funny. That's kind of interesting, but yet it's not as funny that I actually think about it. It's one of those that I did laugh, but at the same time I feel they kind of ran the ground a little bit. Like it's kind of hit or miss. Like I don't know how you felt about the running gag. That it worked for you or it did it. After that, you find out that Rick, how he gets out of it, is the fact it sort of remind him who he is because it's not the first time actually Rick does this. That he gets so deep in, he sort of forgets who he is. The only way to bring it back is to give it a part of himself to break him back in. Sounds ridiculous. It shouldn't work, but he did kind of. Very end, he did. He still plays William. To the very end of the episode, you find out what does break his spell. What the last time, what actually happened to break him back is the fact finding his ex-wife frozen under his basement. That's the thing who kind of brings back to reality. And that's sort of interesting how much dedication he has to his wife, even that she's sort of dead, and even Digman trying to figure out a way to bring him back. That is sort of very questionable because it not yet set up what would, Rick would do to get his wife back. It's still a huge question mark, but very end, this episode was sort of basic. I mean, it's not the best episode. It wasn't the worst episode. It was good. It was entertaining, especially they used Shakespeare's quotes, letters. Like you're a big Shakespeare fan, you will hear a lot of lyrics what he says, especially with how Rick trying to be fancy when this gang trying to go in doing a tongue twister. That is sort of fun and interesting to see him try to do a tongue twister with an English accent. I mean, that's sort of double duty. That's kind of hard to pull off. Now, anything else of this episode was sort of interesting. I think it's the final ending because after the episode ends, you have the breaking point famous ending like, let me serve one more last time. Go with me. If you've seen the movie, basically the main villain of the gang and Keanu go surfing. In a way, they leave it like out of the open, and they sort of reinterpret it in the this episode a little different. Is that possibly every 50 years, like a special homage of the Shakespeare had to be opposed, in other words, and Rick led his former friend to do it once again. His last performance, his dedication to Shakespeare, and everything just goes wrong. I mean, common sense trying to do your own thing on a river, and you see a lot of waves back and forth. Of course, it'd be wrong. Of course, everything will go wrong. It's sort of a runny gag, and that it was interesting. It was sort of fun. It wasn't the best or worst. It was okay. I mean, I did lose a little focus because some of the jokes, like, yeah, let's go on. But besides that, it was enjoyable, especially something who the only one who actually cares about his boss, that she doesn't want him to walk away. She wants him back because she works too hard to get this job, and you get it. But I love the rest of the crew, like, who cares? Like, I love that because they're just so tired of him that if he goes away one more time, they'll be okay with it. Just sort of steer their stuff. But besides that, that was sort of very enjoyable. It's sort of eye-opening how Santini is so dedicated to the job. She really wants to be promoted. But once again, hopefully they do open up on the next episode her wants, her needs. But besides that, I really got nothing else to say. Just one question. How you feel about the episode? Do you hate it? Do you like it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching and have a good day. Bye.